When the old gray-haired man recounts his story to the young student, he is a mere 10 years old, but that doesn't stop the cruel sultana from sending men to take him from his home. She wants him to become the sultan's spy within her own palace walls. Taken from his village by the Black Sea, the boy witnesses horrible things while serving in the Ottoman Empire's royal court, and one day his very existence depends on remembering them all. Our story starts in the 16th century with the mighty Ottoman Empire at its peak. Among the sultan's wives is the shrewd and ambitious Valid Sultan, along with her son, Prince Mustafa. As the heir apparent, Mustafa is destined for greatness, but the sultan has taken a new wife, the mysterious Russian princess known as Anastasia, who catches the sultan's eye and makes Valid furious. Valid believes that Anastasia must be eliminated, and sets her sights on getting rid of her first by eliminating the sultan's son. Her plan takes shape after she discovers the boy in her path. One day, the sultan had given the boy to one of his wives as a slave, a small price to pay for what she's about to receive. While playing, the boy stumbles upon some soldiers looking for him. They tell him he has been summoned to the sultana's chambers and warns him not to disappoint her. When the boy reaches her chambers, the sultana looks at him with amusement and tells him he will live in her chambers from now on. But when she leans in close, she tells him in a low voice that he must do something for her, a task that will change his life forever. She whispers to him that she wants him to go to the palace library and find out if Anastasia has poison. If he finds proof, he will get anything he wants. If he fails, he would end up dead. At first, the boy refuses, explaining that he can't read, but the sultana insists, promising him that he won't have to read. Instead, someone else will do it for him. That someone is the elderly scribe, Ahmed, who prepares to do the dirty work for the sultana. After asking the boy if he knows how to keep a secret, the scribe tells him they're going to make it a secret that he never existed. He guides the boy into the vast library, filled with countless scrolls and books, and instructs him to sit quietly. Soon, the scribe hands the boy a silver tray with a dagger, ink, and a piece of cloth. He explains to the boy that once he does this, he will no longer be himself, but instead become a ghost. A ghost who can hear everything, see everything, but cannot speak. He teaches the boy how to write the alphabet, so that he can read any book without being noticed. Then comes the moment when the boy loses his voice forever. With a deep breath, the scribe cuts off the boy's uvula, removing his ability to speak. In immense pain, the boy screams, but no sound comes out. Later, the scribe informs the sultana that the boy is ready and she summons him to her chambers. The sultana praises the scribe for his hard work and rewards him with money and a noble title. Then, looking at the boy, she says, "Now you are my eyes and ears. Go and find out what the Russians have brought with them." And thus begins the boy's new life as a spy in the sultan's court. As time passes, the boy adapts to his new reality and excels at his task. Although he can no longer speak, he can still cry. And when he sees the scribe executed for leaking a secret to Valid, he realizes that crying is a luxury he no longer has. Now a seasoned spy, the boy continues his mission to uncover secrets within the palace walls. He soon discovers a plot against Anastasia involving the execution of her servant. Realizing the danger, the boy alerts the sultan, who takes swift action to protect his new wife. However, the boy witnesses the dark side of the sultan as he orders the execution of anyone who might have been involved in the plot, even though many are innocent. Meanwhile, tensions rise as Valid becomes increasingly concerned about her position in the sultan's heart. Fearing that Anastasia may hold more power than her own son, she decides to send Mustafa away to a remote province as governor. Seeing this as a chance to get rid of her rival, Anastasia convinces the sultan to let her accompany Mustafa. Left alone in the palace, Valid's grip on power weakens and she grows desperate. She summons the boy, now a master of disguise, and asks him to discover if Anastasia has any plans to return. Torn between his loyalty to the sultana, who took away his voice, and his admiration for the kind Anastasia, the boy struggles with his decision. In a dramatic turn of events, Valid confronts Anastasia, intending to harm her, but accidentally pushes her to her death. Consumed with guilt and fear, Valid flees to her chambers. Back in his room, the boy writes down everything he has witnessed, and hides the scroll under his floorboards. Despite the risk, he manages to deliver the news of Anastasia's death to the sultan. Overwhelmed with grief, the sultan returns to Istanbul and demands justice. Suspecting Valid's involvement, he interrogates her, but she cleverly deflects the blame onto her servants. Desperate to escape the sultan's wrath, she hatches a plan to flee the city disguised as a man. However, before she can carry out her escape, the sultan's guards surround her chambers and arrest her, ending her reign in the palace. With Valid gone, peace returns to the sultan's court. He eventually remarries and has another son, but he never forgets Anastasia. Every year on her death anniversary, he visits her grave and asks forgiveness for not protecting her. One day, the sultan receives a letter from his son Mustafa, expressing his desire to return to the capital. Though initially hesitant, the sultan eventually agrees and welcomes his son back. However, their reunion is short-lived as Mustafa mysteriously disappears on his way to the palace. The Sultan is devastated and determined to find his son. He summons the boy, now an adult, and instructs him to discover what happened to Mustafa. The boy begins his investigation and uncovers a series of suspicious deaths among the Sultan's family. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he goes to great lengths to gather evidence, putting himself in danger. Meanwhile, the Sultan, consumed by grief and suspicion, becomes increasingly paranoid. He questions everyone around him and makes enemies in the process. As the boy gets closer to uncovering the truth, he faces threats and attempts on his life. Despite the danger, he persists in his search for answers. Finally, he discovers a hidden chamber where he finds Mustafa's body. Shocked and saddened, he reports back to the Sultan, who is consumed with rage and grief. Vowing revenge, the Sultan seeks to uncover the mastermind behind his son's death. As the Sultan's paranoia grows, he becomes more isolated, pushing away those closest to him. The boy, torn between his loyalty to the Sultan and his own conscience, tries to guide the Sultan towards justice without revealing his identity. Years pass and the boy's hair turns gray, but his dedication to his duty remains unwavering. Still unable to speak, he continues to serve the Sultan, watching over his court and keeping secrets. The Sultan, now old and weary, realizes the cost of his actions and the weight of his decisions. As he nears the end of his life, he reflects on his journey and the sacrifices made by those around him. The boy, having dedicated his life to his duty, finds solace in knowing that he has made a difference. The story concludes with the Sultan's death and the rise of a new ruler. The boy, now an old man, is forgotten in the palace gardens. One day he is visited by a young student named Ahmed, who seeks to learn about the palace's history. The old man, recognizing the same name from his past, agrees to share his story. As he recounts his experiences, he reveals the hidden truths and forgotten stories of the palace. Young Ahmed listens intently, realizing the importance of preserving history. Towards the end, the old man reveals his identity as the boy from the library. He shows Ahmed the hidden scrolls containing his memories and writings. Together, they burn the scrolls in a small ceremony, symbolizing the erasure of trauma and the passing of knowledge. As the old man finishes his story, he emphasizes the importance of remembering those who have been silenced by history. He encourages Ahmed to share their stories so that their voices are not forgotten. With that, the old man's story comes to an end, leaving a lasting impact on the young student. Ahmed departs, carrying the burden of untold histories and the responsibility of giving voice to the silenced. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.